Hello everybody, this is a video version of the Zoom meeting that we had earlier today. It's pretty much exactly what the students who were there heard, and if you weren't, we missed you. But you can see and hear everything here that was seen and heard then. If you were in that class, thank you for being there and thank you for coming back. Um, First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a lecture, and then on a second video, because we have to break these up for space purposes, I'm going to talk about the Speech 4 checklist. And the third thing is my model for a Speech 4 based on the checklist. So the first thing is the lecture, which is all about speeches to celebrate, and that is related to Quiz 4 and the chapters in the book that I'm going to mention. And it goes like this. First of all, I want you to make sure you look at the discussion boards to get caught up. By the time you're reading this, it'll be 8, 9, 10, and 11. 8 is assignments. 9 is my speech. 10 is this lecture. 10, I guess it'll be 10, 11, and 12 will be this lecture. So let's take a look at this speech 4 notes. There are 4 categories of speeches that celebrate community. This is page 252 in the book. Speeches of recognition, where you're introducing, presenting, and accepting awards, like introducing people, presenting awards, and accepting awards. If you'd like to give a speech where you are accepting an award instead of a speech to celebrate somebody else who won an award, please get with me. It's a very negotiable thing. There are speeches of recognition, as I said, then speeches of praise or blame. These are reminiscent of speeches to persuade, because if you're praising or blaming someone, it's because you have an opinion, and that is reminiscent of speeches of persuasion. But also, speeches of praise can be weddings, toasts, and roasts. Speeches of inspiration or encouragement, sermons, after dinner speeches. There will be a lot of speeches of inspiration or encouragement during the coronavirus outbreak. Speeches that mourn a loss, like a eulogy. There are 2 commonalities in all celebratory speeches. They are designed to bring a community together. They are focused on the present. Now, here are 5 tips for speaking to inspire. Focus on the audience's mood. If it's a funeral, you want to have a somber mood. They will have a somber mood, and you will want to match them. If it's a celebration, you don't want to have a somber mood. Although I should say, when you are giving a speech that's somber, you do want to have an authoritative voice so that you can motivate people who aren't feeling good. Be creative with language and delivery. Use figures of speech. We'll get into that probably with the third part of this presentation. Tell stories or anecdotes. Remember the anecdotes that we had at the beginning of speeches 2 and 3, rather. You can have anecdotes at the beginning, middle, or end of a speech to celebrate. It matters not where. Be energetic. End memorably. Remember how I said you could put a anecdote at the end of a speech? What if you have a story about the person you're celebrating? Maybe no one in the room has heard this story before. You're the only one who knows it except for that other person. Maybe it's a roommate you're celebrating, and you have a surprise ending that maybe is something that your roommate's parents have never heard about, and it celebrates your roommate. That'd be cool. End memorably. A surprise ending is great. Although it is hard, it's difficult to do this at a family gathering because everybody knows everything about everybody. What are the functions of eulogies? This is important. What are the functions of eulogies? Acknowledge the death. Sometimes it helps people to get past the denial phase if they hear someone say it happened. When my grandmother died, I kind of blocked it off for a while, and then I heard the minister acknowledged that she died, and I went into the men's room and I cried for about 5 minutes. So it does, and that helped me a lot. So to cry. So please understand that when you are acknowledging the death, that's a good thing. Um, Move the death from the present to the past. Everybody's thinking about how this person is dead, and you want to get them to the point where they did die and they were alive, and now we're moving on. And you'd say something like, "We have to move on without Uncle Joe." Help mourners reflect on their mortality, their own mortality. It sounds morbid, but my parents are 80 years old, and they are attending a lot of their friends' funerals now, and they wonder, will I be next? And that you also want to indicate that the deceased lived on in a different way. And that goes up to page 260 in the book. Now, in the second part here, we're going to take a look at the speech 4 checklist. And in the third part, we're going to take a look at my particular model for a speech 4 based on the checklist that I am giving to you. And so thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next part.